Hey, what's up everyone, Bubbleking here, and today we're going to be talking about the dev insight Drybear recently put out. So basically they talked about a bunch of stuff they're going to be doing in the future and in Season 1 and stuff. And while some of the changes seem quite good, I was a bit worried about some of the other ones, and I kind of want to just talk about them here a bit. So the first one is talents. It's the first thing he talked about in the video. Basically, they want like a talent for each ability, so it's easy to tell which ability the build is going to be focusing on for that character. So their example was like dodge roll Cassie. Like if she has a dodge roll talent, you know she's going a dodge roll build. I don't really understand why we need the talent system. Like we have the card system to create the character diversity. I mean the build diversity. Sorry. I feel like they could just build the talents into the card system. Like we used to have it where you chose like a specialization card and then you filled out the other 4 slots. Like your specialization card was pretty much what the talent's going to be. Like it just, this ability is super powerful, or this one's going to be super powerful. It pretty much just defined your build, but for some reason they're going to make it into a talent, which just makes it another thing you have to pick at the start of the game. Like it seems kind of weird that you start the game, you get into it, and then you have to choose like 5 different things or whatever, or so just before the game starts, you know? It's a bit weird. I just wish they could build into the system they already have. Like, they already have this card system here. Why can't they just put it into the card system? We don't really need 2 systems to complete like the same goal. I was also with like the build diversity and stuff, they could make some more impactful and interesting cards. Like, for example, there's like some cards that just give like flat HP, just like, you know, really boring stuff there. Same with like the CC reduction and stuff like that. It's like, they're not very interesting cards. Why don't you just replace those ones with these talent or build defining cards, and then it could actually be interesting. Like just make 1 card in each slot build defining, and then bam, you got your talents in the build, like the card system, and you're not confusing new players with like 3 different systems. Because like at the start of the game, it's already hard enough to get them to buy a card that's not aggression. It's hard enough to get them to buy a card at all. So, you know, when they start a game, they get into a game, they have to choose, you know, they have to choose their talents, and then they have to choose their cards, and then they have to actually buy a card as well. It's like a lot of stuff to do at the start of a game, especially for a new player. Like obviously the veteran players won't have a problem with this, selecting all the stuff, because they don't know what they're doing, but still, you're trying to get new players to play the game, and having them select all this stuff at the start of the game would just like overburden them and confuse them, and they would just be like, what the hell's going on? There's also the locking of the talents behind the mastery system. Now I think that's a bit weird, because it sort of limits the way you can play each character until you get the mastery up with them. But if you want to play a character a certain way and you only like playing them that way, why would you limit them until they, like for 50 games or whatever, till they can play? Like for example, if you want to play Turret Barak or whatever, and the only way to play him at level 1 was with his barricade, would I have to play 50 games just to see if I like playing Turret Barak? And what happens if I play those 50 games and I realize I don't enjoy it? I just wasted all that time playing a build I don't really enjoy, when I could have just played something that, you know, I did enjoy. Where if we didn't have this lock system, I could just go straight in, play Turret Barak, and be like, oh, okay, this is not really my style, and then go play another champion. You know, you don't have to waste time grinding to see if you like a certain play style. I understand that they're trying to not confuse new players by limiting their options, but it's sort of like really terrible way to go about it. They had the same thing in Heroes of the Storm with the talents. They limited like which ultimates you could choose until you got to a certain level with the character and stuff like that. And it was just terrible, because every character obviously going to have an optimal build, and if you block off the card that they need to play the character optimally, they're just going to be disadvantaged until they unlock it. And it's just, yeah, really, really bad idea. Like if Turret Barak is the only way to play Barak, but you don't get it until you're level 5 or, I don't know, 6 mastery or whatever it's going to be, no one's going to play him. No one wants to be disadvantaged for like 50 games in a row just so they can play a character that's balanced. It's kind of weird. Oh well. Next thing they're talking about is gold. They want to make gold more meaningful, and they talked about this through stats on cards, and while I think giving stats on cards wasn't too bad of an idea when they used to have it, the way they want to implement it by leveling up the card to give like slight improvements over time seems like a really bad idea to me, because it just seems way pay to win. Like, it reminds me a lot of the rune system in LoL, where you spend IP to buy runes and then you put them in your rune page, which gives you flat stats at the start of the game. This is one of the worst systems in LoL. It's terrible. You have to either decide between buying champions, which you can enjoy, or these flat stat increases, which aren't really fun. They're just there so you can, actually have a chance of versing the enemy. So I don't really understand why they're trying to implement it. I understand that they want to cause a gold sink in the games because people complain they have too much gold. But why didn't they just do it through like cosmetics and stuff like that? They just copy the system they have in Heroes of the Storm, like the champions mastery skins or whatever they're called. Make it when you get to level 10 with a character, you unlock the ability to buy a champion skin or something like that. A mastery skin for like ridiculous amount of gold, or you could just have like a different body parts. Like, it doesn't matter how much these mastery skins cost, as long as they're like there. We don't need a gold sink which actually affects the outcome of a game. Like, if I get a friend into the game and he's like just as good as someone else, I expect them to have an even chance. I don't want them to be 5 or 10% HP and a damage down just because they joined the game late, or they haven't dropped $100 or so on the game. Oh man. All I see this the stat on card system calling is unbalanced, because it's hard to balance a character when they could either have 3000 HP or 3600 or 3300 HP. It's kind of hard to balance characters when there's so much diversity in what their actual stats are across the board. I also think it would just cause like a lot of anger in the community. Like, I just imagine people getting mad that the only reason someone else won, well, in their mind at least, that the only reason someone else won was because they had 5% more HP or 5% more damage. And I could just see people raging and stuff because of that. So I don't think too much good is going to come out of this stat on card system. It just seems like it's going to cause a lot more trouble than, it's worth. And there's better ways to fix the gold sink. Like, they could have had, I don't know, profile pictures or background for characters or some shit, Like loading screen backgrounds or something. I don't know. There's so much stuff they could do that doesn't impact the actual game, which I don't understand why they're not doing. Oh well. Pretty much, it just seems kind of weird that the reason they made the cards the way they are was so that it's not very hard for new players to get the cards, because otherwise they'll be completely unbalanced. Like, they don't have the optimal build, they're going to be disadvantaged until they have the gold to buy the cards to make the optimal build for their characters. But with all the stuff they're talking about now, it seems they're trying to go back on that and making it a bit more pay to win. Like, if you drop gold on the cards, you're going to be stronger. And what I'm actually really worried about here, what happens if a card gets nerfed? Like, I don't know how much gold, obviously, they're going to make you invest in a card to get it to max level, if there even is a max level. Let's just hope there is a max level. I think he said the max level is like 1%, but that's like just a figure of speech. I don't know if that's actually what it's going to be. It's probably different for like every card and every hero and stuff like that, so we don't know what it is exactly. But yeah, what happens if I invest like, I don't know, 20,000 or 50,000 gold into a card and it gets nerfed? Do I just have to live with the fact that I'm going to be disadvantaged until I level up the new card to max level? That I'm going to swap in for that card, or, it just seems kind of a weird system where we don't really need it. There's better ways to go about creating gold sinks without actually impacting the game. I mean, like, so many games have tried to put in a gold sink like this. Like, Heroes of the Storm in beta had they tried to put in the rune system, or whatever they called it, artifact or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but basically you spend gold and you get slight stat increases, and I think they only had that in for like a week or so because it was a terrible idea and everyone hated it. It was so bullshit. Saying just knowing that okay, that character has 500 more life than me because I just brought a hero instead of buying a rune for the character. You know, it's just stupid stuff like that. Anyway, I hope they obviously don't go down the pay to win route. It's just gonna ruin the game. Like, we had a really good thing going from like the Steam release date to now. So let's just hope they don't screw it up, because a lot of people enjoy the game, and I hope people can keep enjoying it. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.